I just want you all to know I am all in for Joe Biden. You know, we're told in the media and from various sources that you've got a lot of Americans who are in the Trump camp, you've got a lot of Americans who are in the Biden camp, and then you've got in the middle these undecided voters, this swath of, I don't know how many there are, but all these people are undecided. They just can't seem to decide whether they're going to support Biden or they're going to support Trump. They're just undecided. And somehow we need to figure out a way to get these people to make up their mind. They're probably among some of the great moderates in history. You know, by the way, where's the great book that's dedicated to the great moderates of history? Great moderates in history. Where are these people who can't make up their mind about who they're going to vote for between Trump and Biden? They just can't seem to find any way forward to make up their mind. They just can't decide. They look at Biden and they look at Trump and they say, God, you know, I just can't. I don't know. I still don't know. I hear Biden mutter and mumble, and I hear Trump with his hyperbole and his brashness. And I know they couldn't possibly be more different, but I just can't decide. Who do I want to lead the country, Biden or Trump? Trump or Biden? Where are these people? What on earth are you so detached from reality that you can't decide between Trump and Biden? Or am I to believe that the entire electoral process is going to be determined by the undecided voters? How dense do you have to be? How uninformed can you possibly be that you can't decide? Where are these people? I never run into these people. I'm here in Alabama, and as you can imagine, everybody you run into out in the workplace, of those who speak anything at all about politics, you can safely bet where they all come down, on whose side they all come down, at least here in Alabama. Now, it may be different in New York, may be different in San Francisco or LA. I don't know. But here in Alabama, it ain't much of a contest, and I hadn't run across too many undecided voters. I just don't know where these people are, and I don't know how it is possible that anybody who has a modicum of intelligence or has any information at their disposal, and we are surrounded by information, how on earth can you be undecided? I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. But folks, I can tell you this much. For me, Trailer Trash Tim, I am all in for Joe Biden. You're not surprised, are you? I'm all in for Joe Biden. Now, last night, the debate came on. It started airing here at 8 p.m. Central Time. Well, some of you know, because of my work schedule, I get up extremely early. My days start at like 2 in the morning. So 8 o'clock is my bedtime. And I really wanted to be able to post a video this morning. This is Friday. It's now after 4 in the afternoon. But I wanted to be able to post a video with my reaction to the debate. But, of course, I couldn't see the debate because I had to go to bed. So this morning, in between my stops, I'm listening to the radio and I'm hearing all these clips, these audio clips on the radio, and the prevailing narrative was this was an absolute disaster for Joe Biden. And so Marina is texting me about it, and I said, "Don't tell me anything more. When I get home, I'm gonna sit down and I'm going to watch the debate," which I did around noon. And then I had to have my Ronald Reagan Memorial nap. And now I'm awake and refreshed and ready for bear. And Folks, I don't even know where to start with this thing. I am assuming most of you that are watching me now saw this debate. This was an unmitigated disaster for Joe Biden. I mean, we could stay here all night just playing clips and talking about it. This was the worst case scenario for Joe Biden. It was terrible. Now, for his part, I thought that Trump came off very well, actually. I actually believe that Trump showed some measured restraint. I thought that Trump minimized his attack style of behavior. No doubt in my mind he had been coached just to let Biden talk and not interrupt him a lot. Just let him talk, let him shoot himself in the foot. And I think largely that's what Trump did, and I give him credit for that. I mean, he shot back at Biden a few times, but he seemed to be staying within the boundaries that CNN had set for them. But it was just one gaffe. It was just gaffe after gaffe after gaffe on Biden's part. And Trump, when Biden would accuse him of all these ridiculous things, Trump would just make a face or shake his head. But he just let Biden talk. And I think that was wise. I think Trump came off very well in this debate. More on him in a moment. Back to Biden. Biden was just absolutely out of it last night. I mean, this was the worst case scenario, and that is why I am all in for Biden. Now, why do I say that? It should be obvious. I believe that my cat could beat Joe Biden this November. I believe it does not matter who the opponent is. And back to these undecided voters, if these undecided voters, I don't know if I buy that or not, but if these undecided voters needed any kind of a sign or any kind of an indication of what they should do when they go to the polls this November, this erased all that. There can't possibly be anybody with a scintilla of intelligence in their skull or a sense of discernment at all. Folks, it can't be more clear. Trump came off last night looking presidential. He looked authoritative. He looked as if he were the man in command. He pointed out Biden's failures on the biggest issues of the day, the immigration, how Biden has failed the military, and he has, because you remember the Afghanistan debacle, for example, and now he's involving our military in these, terrible escapades all over the world. In Ukraine, we have military personnel in Ukraine, And Trump was just wonderful at pointing all of this out. It is one disaster after another. And Biden was utterly, at times, completely incoherent. There was one point during this debate where Biden was trying to formulate a sentence, and it just trailed off at the end into this vat of incoherency. You could not even discern what the man was saying. And Trump, to his credit, when it came his turn after that, basically said, I don't know how to respond. I don't know what this man just said. And it was true. Nobody knew. It was like, what? What did you just say? I would like to debate you. I would like to answer you, but I don't know what you just said. This is classic Joe Biden. The man is not all there. He is not in control of his mental faculties. He is obviously under some sort of medication, but he remains incoherent. And did you hear later on, there were some pundits trying to defend him. I mean, folks, the rats are jumping ship. The rats are jumping ship. Case in point, back to what I was about to say in a moment. Case in point, Morning Joe Scarborough, the man who lost his mind somewhere back a few years ago, used to be a Republican from the Florida Panhandle, the seat that Matt Gaetz now holds. I think it was 3 weeks ago, very recently, Scarborough was defending Biden, saying he was the most cogent man that he has ever come across, and that he's doing a wonderful job as president. He is just stellar. His mental faculties are spot on target. He's doing a wonderful job. Well, old Joe Scarborough is a little muted in his affections after last night's debacle. I'm telling you, the rats are jumping ship, folks. They are looking for a way out. They're looking for an alternative. More on that in just a moment. But Biden was just incoherent, and Trump made note of that. I can't understand what this man is saying. I can't respond to him because I don't know what he just said. Biden is just, he's being, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. He's just being artificially pumped up and kept going. So it's like he's on mental life support or something. The man is obviously mentally impaired. He is obviously cognitively impaired. I don't know if there's been a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, but he is obviously having cognitive issues of some kind. I was sitting there watching this thing, and I was thinking, can you imagine, folks, just think about this for a moment. Can you imagine if the United States, God forbid, were suddenly involved in some sort of shooting war or an actual nuclear exchange? Can you imagine this man at the control board? Can you imagine it? And it begs the question, who is really running America? It can't be Biden. Who's running the show? Who's calling the shots? Is it Jake Sullivan? Is it Ron Klain? Is it Jill Biden? Or is it Barack Hussein Obama? Or is it a combination of all of these or some of these people? Is there some sort of team that's been assembled in the West Wing that is actually calling the shots? Don't you believe that's a more likely scenario? There were pundits trying to defend Biden after the debate who were claiming that Biden's problem last night was that he had a severe head cold. Really? A severe head cold? This is what you're going with? This is your excuse? When Biden can't complete it? When Biden just wanders off and he can't complete a sentence, he just can't complete it. Because of a head cold? Another question I had, and I don't have the answer to this, maybe you can help me in the comments. Why isn't somebody invoking the 25th Amendment? The 25th Amendment was designed for the removal of an incapacitated president. Does Biden qualify as being an incapacitated president? I mean, if you're an American watching me, how confident are you that the President of the United States is in this sort of mentally impaired condition? Forget Democrat, forget Republican, forget policies, forget politics. Just look at this shell of a man and tell me, does this instill confidence within you as an American? How does this make you feel as an American? I don't care what your political identity is. How does this make, I don't care if you are a hardline leftist Democrat watching me right now. How does this make you feel seeing your president in this diminished capacity? How does this make you feel? Does it fill you with confidence as an American? Does it make you feel confident? Does it make you feel secure? Last night, what we had maybe it could be said, was a ventriloquism failure. What do you mean by ventriloquism failure? I mean this. I mean this. Does this little meme or image or video explain everything? Here's Trump debating Biden, maybe. Says it all, doesn't it? Now, one more thing that I want to say about the state of Biden and of America. There's somebody that I really would love to pick a bone with right now. And that person is Jill Biden, the First Lady. I don't know if you've seen the image of Jill Biden in a post-debate setting in front of a crowd of supporters. Couldn't have been that big of a crowd. With Joe Biden at her side, Jill Biden was just effusive in her praise, and she was prancing around the stage saying, "Oh, he did so good." She was ostensibly patting him on the head. "He did so good in the debate. He answered all the questions," as if she's a first grade teacher who's congratulating little Johnny or Joey for successfully reading a sentence from the Dick and Jane book. "Run, Dick, run. See, Dick, run. Run, run, run." Or he successfully added 2 plus 2. "Oh, he did so good. Joe did so good tonight. He answered every question." I believe that Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States, is a cruel person. She is a cruel person. And do I need to explain why? Because her husband is obviously sick. He is obviously mentally ill in some form. He is obviously mentally impaired. He is basically embarrassing himself and humiliating the nation. What American could be proud after watching their president on a stage in front of the world last night? The humane thing for Jill Biden to do, the loving thing for Jill Biden to do, is what she should have done 4 years ago when her husband was already exhibiting this sort of behavior, although it's not nearly as bad as it is right now. And it's bad now. It's real bad. A loving wife, it seems to me, would say to her husband, "Honey, I love you, but you just can't do this." A loving wife would also be thinking of her fellow countrymen and sparing us all this humiliation and this risk of danger by having this man ostensibly with his finger on the button in the White House. What woman who is married to a man that genuinely loves her husband would allow him this humiliation? I was asking Marina, I said, this is probably a dumb question, but what if I were in that condition and you as my wife saw me in that condition, what would happen? And she said, "There's no way in hell I would let you go out there. No way. I would not subject you to that." And no wife who cares about her husband would ever do such a thing. And I believe she's right. What is it with you, Jill Biden? Are you just so enamored with power and the prestige and your position as First Lady? Do you just have such a quest and a lust for power that it doesn't matter what it does to your husband and to your family? By God, we're getting him back in office. It does not matter if he's on mental life support. You're not taking this away from us. You're not taking this away from me. Is that love? Is that concern? Is that compassion? Is that caring for your husband? I come across critics of, no, I think she's cruel. I come across critics of Trump occasionally, and these people all have issues with Trump for the most part because of his personality. And Trump is bombastic. He uses a lot of hyperbole. Now, I personally have issues with Trump, as I've stated on my channel, but I do not have Trump derangement syndrome. I do not have TDS. I do not hate Donald Trump. I think if I were to meet him personally, I'd really like him. I've said before, I'd love for him to be my next door neighbor. I think it would be cool. I'd love to go shoot around of golf with Trump, who was really rolling his eyes last night when Biden talked about having a 6 handicap, which is utter bullshit. And Trump knows it, and he was rolling his eyes because Trump's a good golfer. He does have a 6 handicap, which is really good. I think mine's like 60. Can you imagine Biden swinging a golf club, driving a ball 250 yards? There's no way. There is no way. This man is a pathological liar. But these people who do have TDS and do hate Trump, it's always based on his personality, his bombastic personality. Well, Trump lies. He's always telling a whopper. And yeah, my issues with Trump are based on facts and logic and issues. You all, if you watch for any amount of time, know what my issues with Trump are. They are mostly over fiscal issues and the size of government and what have you. But I don't hate him. But here's the thing about Trump. I was talking with Marina about this earlier. And if a good old boy from the deep South can understand this, then anybody can understand this. Trump speaks in a manner that comes from Queens. This is how people from Queens generally talk. They talk in a bombastic manner. They use hyperbole. They overemphasize and embellish, and they speak in grandiose terms. Trump will say something like, I appointed General Johnson to his post. Everybody said it was great. Everybody said he was fantastic. Everybody said he's the greatest general who ever lived. Everybody knows that. Everybody agreed. Well, no, not everybody agreed. Not everybody thinks that. But that's just but people who understand how people from Queens talk understand that's just how they talk. And again, if an old Southern boy from Alabama can understand that, who can't understand that? Everybody knows I'm the greatest president that ever existed, that ever lived. Everybody knows. Everybody agrees. No, everybody. But some of these Trump haters, they're like Pharisees. They're like letter of the law people. He'll say, I was the greatest president ever. If he ever said that, he probably did say that, but they'll hear him say he was the greatest president ever. See, he lied. He's not the greatest president ever. Come on, man, grow up. That's just Trump being Trump. He's not lying. That's his personality. He's from Queens. He talks like that. They all talk like that. The Yankees are the greatest baseball team ever. Okay. I get it. People from the Bronx, they use brawn. People from Queens, they use their mouth. They talk in grand terms. They're not matter of fact so much. Every word isn't measured. Now, yes, last night was an unmitigated disaster. What's going to happen now? Well, as I said, I'm all in for Joe Biden. I'll do anything I can to help him stay in the race. I'll encourage him any way that I can because, folks, it's pretty obvious. And there's always fraud in elections. I understand that. There's always a lot of hanky-panky in our elections, especially federal elections. This has always been the case, by the way. It's nothing new. But in this day and age with artificial intelligence and digits and the lack of paper ballots and early voting, it's even enhanced. And there's greater opportunities for hanky-panky in the election. So I understand that going in. But I got to tell you, the way things are right now, I see no way on earth that Donald Trump loses to Joe Biden this November. And that is why I'm all in for Biden. Now, what do I believe is going to happen? All I can tell you is what my gut tells me. I don't have any facts available. I can't document any of what I'm saying with anything of substance. I can tell you I'm reading a lot of material from people who are connected to people who would know such things, that there is an effort afoot to get Biden to step down, and I believe this is valid. A source that I personally trust placed on social media about an hour ago that there is a meeting scheduled today, this afternoon sometime, between Ron Klain, who is the chief of staff, Jill Biden, Barack Obama, and possibly others, ostensibly for the purpose of telling Biden that he's going to have to step down. Take that for whatever it's worth. You can believe it. I am in a wait and see sort of attitude. I believe that it is obvious to the rank and file Democrats. I believe it is obvious to the power brokers in the Democratic Party that something has got to be done. There is no doubt that this is a losing ticket. There's no doubt, folks. And were Biden to step aside and make way for Kamala Harris, that could possibly be even worse, in my opinion. Now, Joe Biden has the nomination in hand. They have not had their convention yet, but Biden has the delegates. So this is really ultimately up to him, because he's got the delegates. He's got the nomination. He would have to step aside and cede his delegates and release his delegates and resign and pull an LBJ and say, I'm not going to accept the nomination. Now, he can do that, but he doesn't have to do that. And if he goes to the convention having not done that, the nomination is his. And as I say, this does not bode well for the Democrats, and they know it. And I believe there are efforts afoot to get Biden to step aside. So those are my thoughts on the debate. I would love to hear your thoughts on the debate. So give me your comments down below. Give me a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the old Triple T channel if you have not. Go to jointriplet.com and check out Live Good, and check out a possibility of you having your very own Live Good business. Jointriplet.com. This is Trailer Trash Tim. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I will see you soon.